Hey everyone, this is Tell the Truth Sports Radio. I'm your host, Ron Fitch, and I'm going to tell you the truth about the NBA trade deadline. And man, let me tell you something. This is the first time ever that the NBA took center stage over the NFL Super Bowl week. This was incredible, but because the NFL moved their season and Super Bowl back, you get these situations which you even as big as the NFL is and more popular than NBA because of all the situations going on with Kyrie Irving and Durant and the Lakers and all these other teams. This has took center stage. Right? I had to do a separate show on the NBA before I do anything dealing with the Super Bowl. And here it is. I had a really good opportunity to break this down. I love what's going on. First, I want to talk about the Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving situation. Then I'll go through the rest of the NBA. Kevin Durant got traded to the Suns 2023, 2025, 2027, and 2029 unprotected first round picks, which Phoenix could care less about. They're thinking about winning the championship this year. But they gave away Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, and Jay Crowder, which they weren't using Jay Crowder anyway, but Bridges and Cam Johnson were nice pieces. So now you got Durant, Booker, Paul, Ayton. And Ayton, they're going to need him to play better defense. He can definitely score in the post. They're going to – the only thing that the Suns lack, because they got everything set up to win a championship, the only thing they lack is interior, other than Kevin Durant is an interior presence to make sure that the dribble drivers who drive to the basket, the Steph Currys, the Ja Morants, the Kyrie Irvings, guys like that are you have to have a deterrent. Like Dallas got JaVale McGee, which was smart. He's going to help Kyrie Irving and Luka as far as if they get beat off the dribble, you got JaVale McGee there to block shots. Who's there? Biyombo's okay. He was a whole lot better a couple years ago, but they're going to need him to kind of rediscover his Toronto self for them to really be locked a lot to get to the finals. They're close to a lot, but you know what's the key to the NBA and the West during conference is health. Durant's not healthy. He's supposed to come back. Booker's not healthy. He's supposed to come back. You got to make sure at Paul's age, he stays healthy because they're not as deep. But can Kawhi Leonard stay healthy for more than 5 minutes? Because Golden State's played so many games for so many years, they're breaking down a little bit. Breaking down just a little. But I just think that health is so big when it comes to the season. Can Murray stay healthy? That's going to be big. Can he stay healthy? Can the Joker stay healthy, which he has? But I'm just telling you, health is so big to what's going on right now as far as the push toward the NBA Finals, which I cannot wait. I can't wait at all to what's going on now. And love the Super Bowl. I'm looking forward to, but I'm really looking forward to March Madness. I'm gonna break that down, but I'm really looking forward to now the playoffs when it comes to Western Conference. Eastern Conference is just how can the combination of Giannis and Holiday and Middleton, if he's healthy, take down Boston. Those are the two teams. I don't trust the Sixers, and there's nothing else out there. The Cavaliers are a year away. I love what they're doing. They're not getting LeBron because I don't think LeBron's wife, they're all set up in California. They love it out there. He's doing Hollywood movies. He's enjoying himself, and they're probably going to go for it. They're going to look at what they have now. They're going to try to get some type of other superstar next year to make one more run at it to try to get him his fifth title. But they're not ready now. And they made some pretty good trades I'll get into in my next segment. But I want to concentrate on Durant and Kyrie. The Suns are set. You got the big four out there. I said the Suns' time was past, but Kevin Durant has come back and reopened the door, which was closed shut after getting annihilated by the Mavericks. And now, speaking of the Mavericks, they get Kyrie Irving. And they gave up Dinwiddie and Finney Smith and draft picks, and that's have a lot of draft picks, capital, but they could go to finals because Luka and Kyrie are going to be so lethal in the fourth quarter of playoff games, and the way they have the high screen and roll, it's going to be. You saw how he just tore through the Clippers defense, Kyrie, without just scoring, but able to get everybody open looks. And they got their shooters and their snipers, and they get them open looks. And Hardaway's deadly from the corner, so he's going to get a lot of open looks. I just wonder about the interior defense. JaVale McGee's going to have to be big, but how physical are they? Physical enough to deal with the Ja Morant and how the Memphis will grind you out? That's a great series, and how tough-minded New Orleans. What about the health of Zion Williamson and Ingram? They got the defense that could shut everybody down. They got the dudes. They got the length with the players they got on the perimeter. They got the scoring. They got a closer in Ingram. They got a monster inside in Zion. They got a monster defender in Alvarado. They got a terrific coach. They are set up to make – that's my sleeper team. They're set up to make a run, but we'll see how healthy they're going to be. It comes down to health. But Kyrie Irving, I got an issue with the Nets owner because Joe Tsai, when owners – it gets personal, they make stupid moves. Look at Al Davis of the Oakland Raiders. Raiders haven't recovered since. Raiders haven't been viable contender. They had a couple of moments, but it's been about 30 years because it got personal. And it got personal with Tsai, with Kyrie Irving and the vaccine, which in my opinion, proved to be right. That was ridiculous. You don't force grown adults to do anything. Let's put it that way. And the media went after him. And Joseph Tsai, then the tweet, which he took back. It was just a tweet. He didn't put it out there. That could have been communicated. But if he didn't like him to begin with, that's stupid. Even if you don't like a guy, if he's gonna help you win a championship, I'm keeping him. I'd have kept Kyrie and Durant as long as I could have. I don't care how you feel. We'll negotiate this later. As far as a contract, you play out. We can do a sign trade, or I gotta let you walk, and I'll get another superstar to go with Durant. I told Durant I ain't never letting you go, but once Kyrie left and that's Durant's friend, it just got toxic, and now you got a lot of good players, but you don't know if you'll ever get back to a contender again. You got good players, but now you got to go find a great young player in the draft. You're hoping. You are a contender this year. Now you're hoping. And it could set you back 10, 15 years if you don't get the right guy. And you're not going to be in a lottery. The big kid from France, you're not going to be able to get him. And there's some good players. I was able to interview some players up and coming that could be really good. There was a high school tournament in New Jersey, and there were some good players in it. So that's the future. But now it's all about Kyrie and Durant's friendship is still there. I listened to Kyrie talking. Kyrie said, hey, he got that toxic situation. I was like, oh, boy. So they might end up playing each other in the playoffs. I want to see – there's so many good matchups. Don't sleep on Golden State. Before I go to my next segment, don't sleep on Golden State. I just believe – I love getting Gary Payton Jr. back. I got to see health-wise. If Steph can be healthy, they got a championship heart. I think this is it. Because I could see Draymond Green going to the Lakers. They're not going to be able to afford him. But this is a proud team. They're going to fight. You're going to have to give blood to get that fourth victory over Golden State. They went to 6 finals, won 4 championships. They got and I watch them when it matters. The big games, they are proud. The only problem is Kevin Durant detonates all that. Kevin Durant. See, if Durant doesn't go to Phoenix, I still believe Golden State takes out Memphis. Golden State takes out Dallas, which won't be easy because it's going to be hard to deal with Kyrie and Luka. But with Kevin Durant healthy going to Phoenix with Paul, and Paul's such a brilliant guard at getting Booker and Durant the touches at the right time because his IQ is high, and this is his last opportunity to get a championship before Phoenix gets rid of him. My gut, as much as I want to say Golden State with the championship medal, my gut feeling tells me that Phoenix is going to get to the finals. Okay, the new look Lakers, they traded away Patrick Beverley and Thomas Bryant and Westbrook for Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt, very good athletes, and D'Angelo Russell. I think the key is, can D'Angelo Russell be a solid third option? He has to play. You have to get to make the playoffs and to give a team a scare in the first round, get out of play-in, and maybe give a team a scare in the first round. D'Angelo Russell has to be the best version of D'Angelo Russell he's ever been in his life. I'm talking about 15 and 5 and always on the plus side when it comes to plus minuses with turnovers. And then AD's got to be healthy. He's got to be engaged. He's got to play like a tiger instead of a little kitten. And LeBron's got to be healthy. And the rest of the role players are solid. I just think next year they're looking at it. Let's play these guys out. Let's play the season out, and let's see next year if we could get. This is me fictionally. I mean, say for instance, let's see if we grab up a Dame Lillard and team him up with LeBron and AD, and see if we can make a run at this thing. And try one more. I think they're one more star short to go to combat all these monsters in the West. And I think that's going to be big. I'm surprised the Sixers didn't add anything else because they lost to a shorthanded Celtic team. The Celtics own the Sixers, just completely own them. And that's another reason I don't take James Harden serious when it comes to the playoffs. I understand he's putting up monster numbers, but that's okay. But I don't think the Lakers have enough with the trade. I could be wrong. I mean, LeBron, he just broke Kareem's record scoring. He could be great, and AD could just tear it up when the postseason comes. They got to get there. They got to put a streak together. It's possible. But as far as the East, New York is standing pat. I think the Knicks are going to wait. Cleveland is set up. I absolutely love their roster. They didn't have to get when you got Ricky Rubio's a nice low key move getting him. I love Garland and Mitchell and LeVert, and Evan Mobley is that he's hard to describe. He's a small forward, power forward, 2-guard, can do it all type of long player, which is great for the NBA. They didn't get rid of Love. Jared Allen's a great rim protector. And Mobley I love. I love both the Mobley brothers. So they're set up to be really, really. I wouldn't touch that. I wouldn't make no deals. You're not going to get LeBron. If LeBron was at any other city, I could see him leaving, but he's in Hollywood and he's entrenched there with his family. So I don't think that's it. And now Lakers not appeasing the Cavaliers for that. They're vested in trying to get one more championship out of him. And then, he could ride off into the sunset. I had a chance to interview a great guy with a great site. Dylan Burris, he is terrific. He's great at what he does. I follow his site all the time. And he does a tour of NetsPress. It's Nets. You go NetsPress on Instagram, and he is bringing it at all times, man. He does a terrific job. He talks about the current Nets, and we had a chance to talk about the Nets and the whole NBA, and he did a terrific job. So here it is.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. I'm here with Dylan. He's a Nets fan. He covers the Nets on his podcast, one of the best podcasts around. You're on Tell the Truth Sports Radio. I don't think you mind telling the truth. I followed your Instagram, and it caught my attention.
So I run NetsPress over on Instagram, and clearly this was a very, very, very difficult trade deadline that we just witnessed. This is now back-to-back years where the Nets seem to have taken a loss, and it hit us harder this year than it did last year. So Kevin Durant gets moved, Kyrie Irving gets moved, and it's over. The championship era in Brooklyn is officially out the window for now. But the assets that we gained in return were something that hopefully over time will help. It's definitely disappointing that we weren't able to bring in another star player for, James Harden, Kyrie, or KD. But we got 4 solid role players, hopefully for years to come, that will help build this and eventually one day, either make this a championship team or become trade assets to acquire stars to bring in championships. So let's hope.
Let's get to Kyrie first. I'm gonna get to your owner.
Okay.
The Kyrie situation, it seemed like it was bad. Then it was going good. It was really going good. And then the contract negotiations came, and that was the end of it.
Yeah. So, I got it right here with me. This is one of 7 jerseys that I got of the man.
Oh, man.
I've been a diehard Kyrie fan since he was a senior in high school. I'm from New Jersey. I've been following his career before he was ever even a Net. That is one of my favorite players, but sadly, decisions on his end, decision on the owner's end, on our GM's end, they just could never meet terms. Kyrie leaving ultimately is what downfalled this whole entire operation that we had for this year. I believe if he never requested a trade, then we would not be in this position right now. And I believe if he would have just signed his extension 2 years ago, then this could be a situation that we would not be in. I think we would have Harden. I think we would have Kyrie, and I think KD would sure as hell be here.
Yeah, but this is the issue. Your owner, I'm not going to get into the vaccine situation because I kind of sided with Kyrie with that.
Me too.
And then the tweet, you could have, as a man, went and found Kyrie Irving in the huddle, went down there, talked to him for 5 minutes, say, listen, take it down, he takes that, and said, it got too petty. Yep. When owners are petty, owners lose.
Exactly.
Every owner that takes things personal, you never see them win the championships. My guy, I'm a Laker fan. The great Dr. Jerry Buss, it was never personal. I'm going to give you a story because I'm an old head.
Let's hear it.
It was 2-time Lakers. They're going to trade James Worthy. James Worthy is furious. He goes in. He talks to the owner and said, listen, man, this business, don't worry about it. Go back out there and play. Lakers go to 4 finals, win 2 of them right after that. Owners that don't take things personal win. Mark Cuban is smart. He wins. He's not going to take it personal. He understands players. The guy from Phoenix used to play for Michigan State. He understands players.
Yep.
Sorry, this guy feels like he's running IBM. You can't do that with KD and Kyrie.
That's the biggest issue.
Make them feel at home. You needed to communicate. You didn't have to be petty, but like, listen, I'll bring Kyrie back when I feel like it. You don't do millionaire, superstar NBA championship players like that at all. My problem lies with the owner.
So that's what I was going to get into. Like I said, I've been following this team my whole life. I really, really got into it my senior year of high school, which is the year before we got Kyrie and KD. So on a personal standpoint, it looks like the owner, Joe Tsai, only wanted KD. And you could kind of see that throughout these last 4 years. If Kyrie never signed, KD wouldn't have signed. And to get KD, you needed Kyrie. And it looks like they tried to put up with a lot of the things that he had done, whether it's his fault or not. Being in a situation, it's always a 50-50. The front office messed up in many aspects. Kyrie messed up in many aspects. Yep. But when you have a player of that caliber who can put up 27 plus a game, who now owns half of the records in your record book and only got to play 119 games total, You know, that's somebody that you make the sacrifices for. Now, when it comes to the vaccine, that was definitely the beginning of the downfall. And again, we're not going to get into it too much. I agree with him, though. To be one of 2 cities in the entire U.S. having to deal with that, that's pathetic. Yeah, it's truly something that.
Road team players didn't have to be vaccinated. That was ridiculous. Number one.
Every
Number
single
two,
rule in it.
the media coverage during that time, it got personal. It got
toxic.
base.
It was toxic.
And it got nasty. I actually talked to Kyrie this summer. We were talking. He was in Kane at his charity event.
Okay.
And I said it got
I was there
personal.
actually.
You were there more than a run. I'm surprised I didn't see you, man.
Yeah, me and my girl went. Yep.
Okay. And it got personal, it got base.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like he's probably in a better place in Dallas. It was toxic with the owner, and they're agreeing with the owner. And they're not really putting facts in. You got guys who are on ESPN radio faking like they were doctors.
Yeah.
And I had to turn off the radio. Every time I heard his name, I would turn it off. I didn't want to hear it.
It was something bad. And you know what? In a sense, is it deserving at times? Like we said again, at times, yes, but to the extent of what it was brought to, definitely not. The main issue that it seemed is Kyrie's views compared to Joe Tsai's views. If people really did a deep background check into Joe Tsai, you would be able to understand that there's no reason he should have ever gotten mad at that tweet. He supports genocide camps in China. The man is actually a criminal. If you look into things, if you do research, he has done way worse than any NBA owner possibly has probably in this league. And I'm talking even more than the Phoenix owner, more than the Rockets comments a couple years back about China. This guy is genuinely. We dealt with a Russian owner who was considered a criminal prior, and he sold the team to a Chinese man that is genuinely considered a criminal now too. It's not a good situation whatsoever. It's genuinely.
Jaylen Brown pointed that out too, and then
Jaylen Brown was another one that pointed it out. It's such a bad look, especially when you're not pretty much going with your own rules that you're placing on others. Like, you have to be able to set a standard for not only your team but for yourself. So if you're going to do that, don't even bother, because you're going to get the backlash for it. I definitely agree with the point that you made that GMs in the league need to be more player friendly, and that doesn't mean giving the players every ounce of power in the world. That means being able to have conversations with them face to face and be able to work together. You have to be able to make a star player happy to want to be there. A star player is there for a reason. He's there to win, and he feels like he wants to be there. Now it's your job to make them feel comfortable, make them feel like this is a home, and make sure that they want to re-sign in that next contract year, that whenever that is. That's your goal as an owner. And they didn't do that. I will say, though, Kyrie's comment saying that he's been thinking about this since the first year that he got there, that definitely isn't true. If you look into it 2 years ago, him, KD, and Harden were up for contract extensions. Yep. KD re-signed his. Kyrie was on the brink of signing his. Harden wanted out. Kyrie didn't sign it. That was one issue. Now you come into this year with the contract issues. He was offered the extension. Money was there. Years were there. That's the information that I got. Everything was there, other than the fact that there was a stipulation saying if you don't win a championship, you're not getting your full money. And in the NBA, your stipulation accounts for up to 15% of your contract. So if you're really looking at it from a logical standpoint, Kyrie Irving's making $49.6 million after he signs that extension. If 15% of that's taken out, that's a little under $8 million. And for a guy that doesn't care too much about money, it seemed like money was the biggest topic today. And it's the sad truth. I think the greed of money kind of got to him with that max extension. Him not being a part of Nike anymore is dropping probably roughly 60% of his income per year. Yeah. So it makes sense why he wants the money. But at the end of the day, a stipulation saying win shouldn't be something that makes you want to leave. That should drive you and motivate you to get that extra $8 million.
And before I get to KD, Kyrie is principled. Kyrie is his own man. He's not a go with the flow type of guy like most of the athletes. And that puts people off. So the main people, I told Kyrie this and he laughed. I call him the Walt Disney fake civil rights activist on the Walt Disney network that comes on. Yeah. And they say the same thing, and they're just with the one opinion and one thought. And he's not really like that. And KD really, I bet you he respected that. That's why KD didn't make a lot of comments. And he was able to move on to Dallas. Now, Dallas, I think, is going to help them because Luka, I think Luka doesn't mind Kyrie. I think they're going to play each other in the fourth quarter. Luka's going to be like, well, okay, you could take some of the load.
Yeah.
Kyrie's like, okay. And you saw how Kyrie's passed the ball around. So I think that's going to help. The only thing that keep Dallas from being in the finals, I don't think they're big enough. They got everything else I love, but I don't think they're big enough when you're going up against the bigger teams in the West.
The way that their lineup is constructed reminds me a lot of Brooklyn. It's Kyrie. It's got Tim Hardaway now as their small forward, who is only 6'5", 6'6", and then you got Christian Wood, who's playing your center and 6-man, surprisingly, and Dwight Powell's only 6'10", 6'11" as well. So it looks like you got your Claxton as your big man, your KD and Luka, and then your Kyrie and Kyrie. Everything else is small. So it's definitely going to be a difficult road for them. I do have Phoenix as the favorite now, along with Denver. I think that's going to be your Western Conference Finals. The Pelicans weren't able to make a move, but if they got OG Anunoby, I would have put them over Denver probably. And if we're on the topic of, people moving around, I'm going to give a hot take real quickly, and I want you to just remember it. Kyrie Irving is going to be a Phoenix Sun next year. I'm saying it right now. I think Kyrie Irving heads out to Phoenix. Chris Paul's up. His time's done, and he's on a hefty contract. If they get rid of him, they can bring in Kyrie with ease, and I think it's going to happen.
Okay, I agree with you because they have a great friendship. That is unbreakable. I'm going to tell you something else. Chris Paul will go to the Lakers to play with his buddy LeBron James.
See, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. If he embraces a 6-man role, I could definitely see it. But I don't see them getting older and spending more money on older pieces when LeBron's going to be 39 next year. I don't see them bringing in Chris Paul only because of his age and his regression as well. If they bring him in as a 6-man, that's a different story. But if he doesn't embrace that role, there's no point.
Okay, what about the team he was supposed to go to? That was the Knicks.
Who's going to the Knicks? Chris Paul. When was this? As of recently?
It was a while ago. They were trying to do something with Carmelo. I remember that. They were trying to get that going with him. I don't know if that would be something, but the Knicks are younger. I don't know if that would work. He's in a tough.
The only move that I can see the Knicks looking into this offseason would be somebody like OG Anunoby, Zach LaVine. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a lot of the younger guys that can kind of add more value to their team. I can also see them maybe attempting to move on from Julius Randle. Not too sure of it yet. They seem to like him and are high on him. I just don't see him as a playoff winning type of player. So that's definitely going to be something to look into. The Knicks are going to be an interesting team. They have RJ Barrett, who they can move this summer, who is another young prospect who's on the borderline of becoming that star, but not just there yet. So he'll get there, and whatever team he's moved to, he will become that. A lot of those players, once they hit a certain level of potential on a team, they got to get moved to reach that next level. And that kind of happened with Jared Allen on the Nets.
I totally agree. What was your reaction with KD getting traded? I thought they're going to build around KD, and I was reading your post. I'm like, okay, we're getting there. Let's get a couple more pieces. I'm like, good. What happened?
So what it looks like is teams around the league wanted KD more than they wanted the Nets to succeed, which is understandable. You're not going to want to see a top 3 player in this league win, especially when it's in your own conference. So seeing Toronto not want to make a move, it made sense because you don't want to give up your assets to a team who you're going to be playing 4 times a year for until the next time there's a merger or some team gets moved to a different conference, and that's never going to happen. So, trading away a young asset like Pascal Siakam, that was something that the Nets were heavily looking into and on the phone almost every single day over the last week for. But the issue is they didn't want to help us, and ultimately they were willing to put their chips all in on hoping that KD would request to go there rather than helping us. And, it was a lose-lose situation for both sides, I think. The Toronto Raptors didn't upgrade, and we lost KD. So it definitely looked like if there was no other star brought to Brooklyn, KD was out. And that's what just happened. We lost him, and no star was brought.
I'm with you with Phoenix and Denver, but I just want to tell you this. Do not sleep on the champs. Somehow, some way, Golden State, until I see them get eliminated in the playoffs, I always think they got a chance because they got the DNA of a champ.
See, I think it's over. I think it's over. I don't see them beating Memphis because I think Memphis is Golden State 2.0. They have their Steph Curry and Ja.
I don't trust Memphis, man.
I listen, I don't like Memphis either, but the way that they play, they remind me of a young Golden State. You got your spectacular talent in John Morant. That's your Steph Curry of that team. You have Desmond Bane, who's going to do the dirty work, play defense, and shoot lights out. That's your Klay Thompson. And Jaren Jackson is a lot better version of Draymond Green defensively, and he brings offensive presence. That team is very, very good. And then
who needs to get better? Dillon Brooks. If Dillon Brooks could go back to the Dillon Brooks of a year or so ago, I'm not liking how he's playing, but if he can go back
taking too much,
gives him that balance.
Yeah,
I see where you're going with that. You know what would be kind of fun? If you got Dallas and Memphis in the playoffs, you're talking about contrast of styles with the offense of Dallas and the gritty defense of Memphis. That's cool. But also, a lot of this comes down to health. Durant healthy? Is Paul healthy? Is John Morant going to stay healthy? Is Steph Curry going to be healthy? New Orleans is the wild card. If Zion and Ingram is healthy, they got that length that I love.
Yep.
Jones and those kids there, and Alvarado is a pit bull.
I said it at the beginning of the year. Without moves being made at the beginning of the year, I said New Orleans Pelicans are going to the Western Conference Finals. Now that's changed a little bit, but if Zion and Brandon Ingram can stay healthy, you have Jose Alvarado, who's a pest on defense. You have CJ McCollum, who is probably the best third option you could possibly have in the league right now. And then to top it off, you got Jonas Valanciunas, who's a multi-dimensional big man who's going to out-rebound you. He's going to block your shots. He's going to stretch the floor and the perimeter. It's a guy that genuinely brings amazing, amazing basketball as a big man to your team. And to top it off, great coach and a solid system that they have going on over there. So that's a team that's very interesting. But I mean, if I'm looking at the standings right now, you have in the West, just alone, you have Denver, Memphis, Sacramento, Dallas, Phoenix, the Clippers, New Orleans, Golden State, Portland, and the Lakers. That is 9 teams that have the potential to make a Western Conference Finals. I don't think you've ever seen at any point in the NBA more than 4 teams in a conference actually have a true shot of making it. And now you have 9. It's going to be scary. The West just turned back into 2015 again, where it's strictly the West versus the world. Whoever comes out of the West wins the ring this year.
Yeah, I believe Boston will probably come out because I don't trust Philly at all.
I don't trust Philly. Yeah, I don't trust Philly. I think Milwaukee is a team you could still look out for. A team that I had it as a sleeper this year is Cleveland. Cleveland is a team that's dangerous.
You know what? Me and you think alike because we had Cleveland, New Orleans are sleeper. I think Cleveland may be 1 year away from being that team that's going to be in the finals.
I think Cleveland is a blockbuster trade Evan Mobley for LeBron move away from going to a finals. I think that's something that they should truly look into. When you have Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, it's a little hard to kind of build around that, especially with 2 big guys. I think they should make the move onto LeBron because you get LeBron, you get another player involved also.
It's not that easy because the missus loves LA and the kids are there. And I think this was going to happen. I think Bronny is not going to go to college. He's going to go D-League Lakers. And that'll be his chance to play with his dad. That's what I'm predicting.
See, I think he's going to Oregon. I think he signs with Oregon, and I think he plays 1 year there. He gets drafted anywhere between that 6 through 11 spot in the draft. But the team that takes him is not only taking him, they're getting his dad, and they're getting another all-star involved. A team that I've been saying to look out for with this, OKC and Houston. Those are the 2 teams 3 years ago that were stocking up on draft picks. And about 2 years ago is when his dad said, wherever he goes, I'm going. You get LeBron, you get an all-star. So that means you get Bronny, you get LeBron.
OKC, he can live there for a year. That makes sense.
I can see OKC because you already got Shy there. You have Chet, who's going to hopefully improve at some point. I've never been sold on him, but I think, if they keep his health okay, and to top it off, they got to get his nutrition right. They got to just try and build some form of muscle on that kid. I mean, the fact that he missed a full year because LeBron drove in on him in a Drew League game, that's scary. So, he's got to beef up a little bit, especially if he's going to stay in there at 7-1, 7-2 and play down low.
You made me think about something because I just figured Bronny would definitely go D-League. Oregon, picture and imagine the NIL money that he would get going to Oregon. I just
he's already getting NIL money.
Oh, yeah.
He's already getting. I mean, look at he's got the PSD underwear brand thing that he's got going on. He's in Beats commercials now. he's getting his money, and he's doing it in high school too, which is impressive.
I talked to him because I covered the Metro Classic tournament that he was in a couple of years ago, and he loves math. He likes to be an accountant, so he's gonna hold on to his money. Let's put it that.
Yeah. No, he seems. I mean, listen, whatever comes aside from basketball, LeBron is probably the smartest businessman that has ever stepped foot in the NBA. He built himself up from nothing, and he was able to. I mean, the guy's made a school. The guy has, foundations. He's got so much invested into himself. It's truly remarkable what he's been able to do as a businessman. Off brand, off the court, the guy's made more money from Nike than he has in the NBA, and the guy's made more money outside of Nike and probably the NBA, just with commercials, deals, everything. It's incredible what he's done. I mean, he's the first NBA billionaire. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I'm dating myself with my age. I covered him versus Carmelo Anthony and Trenton. I got to hang with his mother. Mike Miller was there to watch him, and I saw it then, the way they were building everything up and how they were getting everything laid out.
Yeah.
Talked to his mom, and that was a great game. Carmelo had the afro, so I interviewed him afterwards. Awesome. And they whisked LeBron away to the All-Star game, so he was already getting set up business-wise.
Okay.
He was a junior at the time.
Yeah,
and he was just St. Vincent. They lost to. Then the following year, they went undefeated. But that first year, they lost to Oak Hill Academy in Trenton, and that was a great game. And I saw it then. I said, "Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay."
That was one of the craziest high school years in probably sports history, coming from a basketball standpoint. I mean,
yes.
That was a truly remarkable class that came up in 01, 02, 03 actually. Their draft class was 03. So yeah, 01, 02 was their junior senior years.
You know what's sad? Poor Detroit. You don't get Carmelo. You don't get Dwayne Wade. You don't get LeBron James. Goodness. I'm gonna tell you a story. I'm covering the Big East tournament, and this is the year that UConn won, and Carmelo's one and done year with Syracuse. So I'm sitting next to the Detroit scout. And I said, "Who are you looking at?" He said, "We're looking at Carmelo." I said, "Listen, I don't want to tell you what to do. I'm just a reporter out of college. But I strongly suggest you sign Carmelo and pick Carmelo in the first round. I just want, he said, "Okay, thanks." He gave me his card, and they ended up picking someone else. Milicic, I believe that's what he was. And, the rest is unfortunately history. Milicic, I believe that's what it was. And, the rest is unfortunately history.
Sean Marks came out with a statement that he even said, he was like, "I'll be honest, last night I was sad." You could tell. It's tough to tell if this is Marks or size issue. That's the issue right now. I think it's size. Sean Marks is a half-decent GM, but I mean, Jesus, the decision's higher up. A grown man, since he said about trade, that's how you know something's messed up. That's gotta be. You gotta take this thing down to the bottom of that front office.
Definitely. Hey, listen. Thanks a lot, man. You did a fantastic job. When the NBA playoffs come, regardless if the Nets and Lakers will probably be out in the first round, but we're gonna just break this down. I'm gonna keep you. I knew you were a keeper, man. Put this on your Instagram. It's Tell the Truth Sports Radio. I'm gonna be following you tonight. So as soon as I get off here, I'm going right to your site, man. I'm gonna be following you. So as soon as I get off, right to your site, man.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.